Let's consider for a moment the feeling of being lost. Not just physically lost when you take a wrong turn in a new city, but more lost within yourself, in your own life. A sense of disconnection, feeling unanchored from the world around you, and most critically, from yourself. We live in a generation built by ego, which has created an industry of materialism, where we get rewarded by our outer environment and our inner environment gets unnoticed. Money, looks, status, cars, houses, and job titles are what we're told to achieve. It gets rewarded on TV, billboards, the media, advertisement, even our own family preaches it. We're exposed to this every day. That is all the outer environment. Rarely do we see humans get recognized for their inner environment. This is stillness, balance, happiness, calmness, clarity, and peace. The system has programmed our subconscious mind to worry about the behaviors that will lead us to unhappiness. It has kept us distracted from what is truly important, happiness and connection. This video will be about looking inward. We'll be uncovering the mysteries of the pineal gland, the third eye, how this may be the answer to our happiness, the benefits to this physical and spiritual body, how to take care of the gland, and the key things we'll want to stay away from. And I'm going to cover on how to activate it. There was a period in my life where I felt overwhelmed. Work was demanding, family life was hectic, and personal goals were being overlooked. I was in a vicious cycle of stress, sleeplessness, and frustration. I felt like I was losing touch with who I was and what truly mattered to me. Then one day, I started reading about the pineal gland, this tiny pinecone-sized organ that is settled behind our brain, the so-called third eye in the eastern side of the world. The pineal gland, I discovered, it was more than just a biological entity, more than just a controller of sleep pattern. For centuries, it's been associated with spiritual insight, intuition, and personal enlightenment. Could this tiny gland be the compass I needed to navigate through the stormy sea of my life? Could it help me reconnect with my true self, my core values, and my true purpose? The journey was about to begin. I came across this text, this 17th century French philosopher and mathematician who said, "I think, therefore I am," needed a source for those thoughts. Introspection showed him that it was possible to think only one thought at a time. From where in the brain might these unpaired, solitary thoughts arise? Descartes proposed that the pineal, the only singleton organ of the brain, generated thoughts. In addition, Descartes believed pineal's location directly above one of the crucial byways cerebrospinal fluid made this function even more likely. He then had this very wild quote: "The pineal gland is the principal seat of the soul and the place in which all of our thoughts are formed." René Descartes, French philosopher. So, better explain this, I came up with an analogy. Imagine a small lighthouse, solitary and bright, sitting in the vast sea of the brain. Just as the lighthouse guides the ships through dark and uncertain waters, the pineal gland guides our uncertain ways, our internal processes, when it's time to wake and when it's time to sleep. In the last 18 months, I've had some wild encounters. There has been over 10 times that I've been able to leave my physical body behind. It's nearly impossible to explain in words. I genuinely wish all humans can experience this blissful feeling. It's like feeling complete oneness. All 4 trillion of my genes, blood, everything inside my biology is vibrating at the same frequency as Earth, as the universe, as the cosmos. It does not feel like I'm in my body. It feels like I'm an energy being, energy frequency, and the physical body is no longer there. I am literally part of the frequencies. Yes, scientists have come to terms that we are energy and we are frequency inside this physical body. But it was just different. I was completely in my energy and my frequency, and my body was no longer there. And I was floating up there in the cosmos with the other energies, just feeling the frequency of everything around me. So cool. To some, this may sound terrifying. And to others, this may sound like the most blissful experience one can ever feel. All I can say, when I came back to my physical body from this trance-like feeling, my soul was healed. Not completely healed, but it's done a lot of healing during that process and that experience. My soul just feels older. From studying Buddhism, I've come to understand that this is the feeling that monks want to achieve. This is the feeling of enlightenment and oneness with the earth and the cosmos and all sentient beings. Okay, you may be thinking, Chris, you achieved this on some psychedelic drug. Now the answer to that is yes and no. My main goal and my priority when I fell into this rabbit hole of energies and pineal gland and being able to leave your physical body, I really wanted to obtain this without using any plant medicine or any psychedelic drug. I really want to achieve this on my own before entertaining the idea of going into plant medicine. So I was able to experience these feelings a few times before doing anything psychedelic. The first ever time I experienced it was doing the Silva method. This is a method taught by Vishen, who was first discovered by Jose Silva from New Mexico. I will discuss the Silva method later in my journey in a YouTube video, but the first time I experienced it was the Silva method. The second time I experienced it was a flame meditation. This was in Indonesia, in Bali, and we were told to stare at a flame for 10 minutes. We did this, and then we did a breath work, and then we did another exercise, and this allowed me to then lay down and do a meditation and leave my body. There's something deep with flame meditation. We'll talk about that another time. And then another time, this is actually twice, was during a breathwork ceremony. I did multiple breathwork ceremonies, but 2 of the times I was able to leave my body, let my soul leave and guide my spiritual body. So that was the times that I've done it without aided help or psychedelics. It's all natural with natural chemicals within our body. Then I experienced it 5 more times. And this was with the beautiful Mama Aya, as others would say, Auyuasca. But I'll keep these stories for another video because I can talk for hours about what I experienced and the journey I went down and the profound things that came to me through my spirit guides and through me and through my intuition. But those are other videos. For now, let's get back on it. The goal is I want to treat my mind, my body, and my spirit as a temple. And this is what allowed me to connect deeply with my intuition and my soul. And it's what inspired me to be where I am today. And this is where we introduce the pineal gland. When I started my healing journey, it all started with the pineal gland. Its name comes from Latin pinus, relating to the pine, pinus. This little organ is no bigger than the nail of your pinky finger. It resembles a tiny pine cone. It's about the size of a grain of rice, 5 to 8 millimeters. This pineal is situated in a very unique part of the brain. Every other part of the brain is paired, meaning they have a left and a right side. You have the likes of like the left and the right frontal lobes. The pineal gland is the only unpaired organ in the brain. This has baffled scientists in the West for the last 2,000 years. Yet, in the East, they call this pineal gland the third eye, and they've known this for over 6,000 plus years. When we are lost or disconnected, we look outside ourselves for a path to follow. We scrutinize our relationships, our environments, and our social circles. We identify external factors that we believe are causing confusion or discomfort. If we're feeling aimless or unhappy, we might change jobs, move to a new city, or seek advice from friends or a therapist. This outward focused perspective isn't necessarily wrong. Our surroundings and interaction do shape us significantly. However, it's not the full picture. This perspective often overlooks a crucial dimension of self-understanding, the inward journey, the exploration of our own consciousness, our thoughts, emotions, and deeply ingrained pattern thinking. We are complex beings. Our internal thread that is often overlooked, even unknown to many, is the role of the pineal gland. This tiny gland, embedded deep within our brain, is largely recognized as our sleep and wake cycle. But could it be doing more than just that? Could it be serving as a bridge between our external sensory experiences and our internal world thoughts, feelings, and intuitions? Ancient cultures and modern spiritual teachers, as well as a growing number of scientists and philosophers, suggest that the pineal gland might indeed have a deeper, more spiritual function. They propose that this tiny gland could be the key to unlocking profound realms of consciousness, facilitating an understanding of our true selves far beyond what our external circumstances can offer. Yet, our common perspective focuses on what we can feel, touch, hear, taste, our 5 senses. It prioritizes our interaction with the physical world while largely ignoring the uncharted landscape of our inner world. The potential of the pineal gland, along with other internal pathways to self-discovery, is left unexplored. So let's talk science on a biological level. Melatonin, the dreaming neurotransmitter. The primary function of the pineal gland is to release melatonin, a hormone derived by serotonin. Melatonin, like DMT, is a tryptamine. Melatonin regulates sleep patterns in both seasonal and circadian rhythms. Your body's internal clock, which is set by the amount of light you get in a day, controls how much melatonin your pineal gland produces. Melatonin is its highest during 1 a.m. and 4 a.m. And this induces rapid eye movement, which is REM sleep. This is a phase in circadian rhythm that causes dreaming. It's important to note that cortisol levels go up, melatonin levels go down. Lower the level of cortisol, which is the stress chemical, melatonin will increase. In other words, when you break the stress response by overcoming the emotional addiction to those chemicals, your body can go back to long-term building. So now let's talk about the benefits on the physical body. So I pulled this data from the book Becoming Supernatural by Joe Dispenza, one of my ultimate favorite books. But he talks about these scientific facts. So stops the excess secretion of cortisol in response to stress, helps control the release of stress hormones. Another one is it improves carbohydrate metabolism, helps your body better process carbs, lowers triglyceride levels, helps reduce the amount of certain fats in your body, inhibits atherosclerosis, helps prevent the hardening of your arteries. As you can tell, I'm not a scientist, but these are nice words. Heightens the immune response, helps strengthen your body's defense against illness, decreases the development of certain tumors, helps slow down the growth of some type of cancer, activates a neuroprotective role in the brain, helps protect your brain's health, increases REM sleep, helps improve the quality of your sleep, stimulates free radical scavenging, which is anti-aging antioxidants, helps fight off damaging substances in your body, promoting overall health and slowing aging, and it promotes DNA repair and replication, helps your cells repair and reproduce themselves correctly. This is how powerful the pineal gland and melatonin is. Other key notes that were mentioned was calcium and phosphate metabolism. So some studies suggest that the pineal gland may also have a role in the regulation of bone metabolism and growth, given its involvement in the regulation of calcium and phosphate homeostasis. The last one is reproductive function. In some animals, the pineal gland plays a crucial role in inhibition of sex hormones to prevent precocious sexual maturation. In humans, however, this function is not well understood and is a topic of ongoing research. So there's another book that I dug deep into, and it's called the DMT, the Spirit Molecule. I was very curious of digging into this book before going on to my ayahuasca journey, because I understand that ayahuasca releases DMT into your body and releases all the DMT in your brain in a mass amount. I really want to understand the studies done behind this, as I love studying the root, as we know. So this book by Rick Strassman explores he explores how the pineal could be the spirit gland. The pineal gland makes mind-altering amounts of endogenous DMT. For any chemical to qualify as a spirit molecule, it must at least possess psychedelic effects. Does melatonin's striking chemical similarity to DMT and 5-methyltoxy DMT mean that it also profound psychoactive? So one of the coolest hypotheses I read about the pineal gland was that it produces this crazy amount of DMT across our lives. Pineal DMT production and the physical representation of non-material or energetic processes, it provides us with the vehicle of consciously experience the movement of our life force in its most extreme manifestation. Specific examples of this phenomenon are the following. When our individual life force enters our fetal body, the moment in which we become truly human, it passes through the pineal and triggers the first primordial flood of DMT. Later at birth, the pineal releases more DMT. In some of us, pineal DMT mediates the pivotal experience of deep meditation, psychosis, and near-death experiences. As we die, the life force leaves the body through the pineal gland, releasing another flood of the psychedelic spirit molecule. The pineal gland also possesses the most amount of serotonin, which is the main precursor of melatonin. The pineal also has the ability to transform serotonin into a tryptamine. This also contains the building blocks to DMT. The pineal gland also makes other potentially mind-altering substances, the beta-carbolines. These compounds inhibit the breakdown of DMT by the body's minoxidil oxidase, MAO. One of the most striking examples of how beta-carbolines work is ayahuasca. Certain plants that contain beta-carbolines are combined with other plants that contain DMT to make this psychedelic Amazonian brew, which allows the DMT to become orally active. If it weren't for the beta carbolines, MAO, in the gut, would rapidly destroy the swallowed DMT and have no effect on our minds. How crazy is that? Amazonian tribes, we don't know the exact date, but for millions of years, not thousands, millions of years, have been using this psychedelic, have been using ayahuasca, and they've created this by grabbing a vine from a tree and grabbing other plants to create this like feeling, so our bodies can ingest it a certain way so it can release all the DMT in our pineal gland. It's wild. But what baffles me is the unique location of this pineal gland. The pineal gland is not even made of brain tissue. It comes from specialized cells originating from the fetal of our mouth. Why is it found in humans in the middle of the brain? What is crazy to me is that there's tiny crystals in the pineal gland. Tiny little crystals. As some of you may know, crystals can be activated. This text really piqued my interest. The pineal gland is a neuroendocrine transducer secreting melatonin responsible for physiological circadian rhythm control. A new form of biomineralization has been studied in the human pineal gland and consists of small crystals that are less than 20 microns in length. These crystals are responsible for electromechanical, biological transduction mechanisms in the pineal gland due to their structure, piezoelectric properties. In simple terms, the pineal gland contains calcite crystals made of calcium, carbon, and oxygen. As Dr. Joe Dispenza says, like an antenna, the pineal gland has the capacity to become electrically activated and generate electromagnetic fields that can tune into information. He also says in his book, several meditative disciplines bring about an intense fine-tuning of intention and awareness. For example, one pointed focus on the breath, the brain's electrical activity, as measured by the electroencephalogram, reflects this synchronization or bringing together of brain activity. Many studies have reported that experienced meditators produce brainwave patterns that are slower and better organized than those found in everyday awareness. The deeper the meditation, the slower and stronger the waves are. So now we spoke about the science of it, but now let's talk about the mystical angle, where it hasn't been able to be proved by science, but the east side of the world and meditators and Buddhism and Egyptians and all these crazy things we're about to cover unveiled this and has known this for thousands of centuries and centuries. So let's dig into it. The mystical information about the pineal gland is what excites me. In the book Becoming Supernatural, Dr. Joe Dispenza uncovers how the pineal gland acts as like an antenna. He believes it can pick up signals from places beyond our normal world. According to Dispenza, when we meditate and focus our thoughts on the pineal gland, we can start to experience more than our usual. Dispenza work signals that it can act as a dial to increase consciousness and awareness. This basically implies that our understanding of reality can be expanded and improved with conscious effort. Have you ever felt you can feel the energy of humans, animals, earth, trees, plants, any sentient being around? You ever felt that? I can, and I have, and it's freaking awesome. I really do believe it's coming from the pineal gland. I really do agree that it is like a radio. You're able to feel the frequencies of the other human, and I believe it all comes from in here, from the pineal gland. If it's considered to be able to pick up energies and frequencies, it must be able to pick up from other humans that are releasing or emitting other energies and frequencies, right? So then if we become aware of the pineal gland, if we are able to heal the pineal gland, decalcify the pineal gland, and treat it like a supernatural tool that it really is, I'm sure we can reach these elevated states as much as we'd like. It allows us to get deeper within ourselves. It allows us to trust our intuition, to get information from our intuition. Okay, you're going to want to listen to this. So scientists have discovered that the pineal gland becomes visible in the fetus at 7 weeks. That is 49 days. You'll see how significant this number is in just a few. This is also the exact moment you can indicate if it's a female or a male. But this is what keeps me up at night. In Buddhism, they believe in reincarnation. I also believe in this. And this is what blows my mind. In Buddhism, they believe the rebirth cycle. When you pass away and you die, your soul can take up to 49 days to leave the body. Okay, so stay with me here. So you have scientists, okay, who have said that at 49 days, the pineal gland is developed in the fetus, and that's when you can see if it's a male or female. Okay, so that's science, that's proof, that's there. And then a 2,500-year-old lifestyle, religion, whatever you want to call it, in Buddhism, has been saying in reincarnation that at 49 days, it takes up to 49 days for your soul to leave your body to find its new home. Okay, so you're telling me that a pineal gland that is thought to be an antenna, a radio that is a frequency that pulls in energies and puts out energy, gets developed at 49 days, and you're telling me that in reincarnation, when your soul leaves the body, when you die and goes up into the cosmos, wherever it goes, it finds its new home up to 49 days. So it could be day 1, day 3, day 4, whatever. It could be up to 49 days. But at 49 days, it gets called into its new vessel, into its new home, into its new avatar. Like, that's crazy. That baffles me. So here's another thing that I read from the book of DMT by Rick Strassman. It takes 49 days from conception for the first sign of human pineal to appear. 49 days is also when the fetus differentiates it to a male or a female gender. Thus, the soul's rebirth, the pineal, and the sexual organs are all require 49 days before they manifest. Mind is absolutely blown. I really do believe in reincarnation. I really do believe the pineal is an antenna. And I do believe we choose our next home, our next vessel, our next human skin. The pineal gland is built at 49 days. And it calls out its next soul. I'm sure you've heard the saying, old souls. This is why. It's not your first time on Earth. It's not your first time in the universe, in the cosmos. You've been in energy. You've been in frequency before. On that note, the pineal gland is also the most active in the body at the time of death. Does that mean that life force leaves the body through the pineal gland as well? Baffling, right? Now let's get even deeper. So we know how Egyptians have always baffled us in the modern age with the way they've built their structures and the way their thought process and their theories are and the way they've done their writing on the walls. It's about to baffle us again. Have you heard of the Eye of Horus? Sure you have, and if you've not, you're going to want to do some research on this. It signifies protection, power, and good health. It's also a picture of the brain cut in half with a pineal gland in the middle of it. It also looks like an eye. So they have this brain cut in half, flipped, which I'll show you the picture, with a freaking pineal gland in the middle of it, and it looks like an eye for third eye. Wild. I also saw this cool text. The Egyptians must have known the significance of the automatic nervous system and realized that activating the pineal gland meant they could enter other worlds or other dimensions. That's what they believed. Have you also heard of the Fibonacci constant or the golden ratio? This mathematical formula shows up everywhere in nature. You can see this pattern in sunflowers and seashells, pineapples, pine cones, eggs, even the structure of our Milky Way galaxy. If you superimpose this formula over the brain and begin dividing in squares while adding another square and another square, you get a fractal pattern, a never-ending pattern that repeats itself at every scale. Starting at the pineal gland, this formula outlines the exact structure of the brain. Are you beginning to think there might be something special going on with this pineal gland? We did start off as a seed. Is that why we continue to evolve? Our brains have been getting bigger and bigger for millions of years. That is just human evolution. Our brains have never been this big, and they will continue to grow. But isn't that just the golden ratio? It just gets bigger and bigger. It's wild. So in Greek mythology, Hermes was a messenger of the gods. Hermes was able to move in and out of divine realms. He was considered a god of transition dimensions. His main symbol was the caducus, which consists of two snakes wrapped around a rod. The top unfolds into wings of birds. The caduceus is often considered a symbol of health. Do you think those snakes moving up the staff represents the movement of energy up the spine from the body to the brain, and the wings the liberation of the self when the energy arrives at the pineal gland to signify enlightenment? The crown represents our highest potential and our greatest expression of the divine. When we activate our pineal gland, represented by the pinecone, the crowning of the self is conquering of the self. It's absolutely wild, the symbols and the messages that we see all within the pineal gland, which helps us just find our true selves. Now I just want to talk about how the pineal gland can enhance our spiritual body. So we spoke about the benefits on the physical body. Let's talk about the benefits on the spiritual body. I'm going to speak from my soul and what I personally experienced, not from what I've read, because yes, you can read this anywhere, and yes, this is real, but these are from people's experiences. So I'd rather just share my deep experience on what I experienced, what I've went through, what I saw, and what I felt. This all started when I started to raise awareness towards the pineal gland. So I reach higher states of consciousness. During specific ceremonies or meditation, I'm able to dig deep into specific feelings and energies and states. I've been able to increase my intuition. So when I'm making certain decisions, or when I have to make tough decisions, I'm getting instant thoughts. I'm getting instant ideas. I'm getting guided by something much bigger than myself. I'm able to trust my gut. I'm no longer second guessing. Another one is expanded perception. The connection I have with animals, with plants, with other sentient beings, the universe, anything. I feel this wild connection that I've never felt before. I feel one with everything and everybody. It's a big reason why I went vegan, because I just feel like I am an animal. We are animals, but they feel equal to me. I do not feel like we have the food pyramid. That food pyramid doesn't make sense to me. That feels like it's centered around ego. I feel like I'm one with everybody, like a circle. I'm in the middle with everything and everybody, and we're all together. We're all one, and it feels so real. Like when I see animals, I feel them. I feel their pain, their misery, their happiness, their present moment, and I also feel the animal connected more with me. It's wild. Another one is manifestation. I feel like when I seek things, or when I call things out, or when I write things down, or when I want to achieve something, I'm guided and I go in that direction and I get what I put out. It's very heavily on actions though. I don't just do what they say in the manifesto, write it down and you'll receive it. No, like, yes, I write it down, but I write it down for my subconscious to see it. My subconscious sees it. Okay, you want to do that? Great. And he brings me on that direction, on that path. And I'm the one digging the path. I'm the one walking the path, but I'm putting it out there. I'm getting it. Another one is inner peace and harmony. This one has been the greatest achievement ever. Being able to just be at peace with who I am, what I've been through, who I've become, and to be just balanced and fulfilled has brought me the greatest amount of joy and happiness. And the last one is just mystical experiences. Being able to get these mystical experiences and to be able to leave my body, to be able to experience oneness, to be able to just indulge in that is, I think, the greatest gift of all, to experience this as of now, being alive. It's so amazing. Now, I'm sharing all this because if I can achieve it, you can achieve it. Any human being on earth can achieve it, because I am nothing special. There's nothing special about me, just a normal being. So now let me share the blueprint on how I've been able to achieve this within my pineal gland, how I've been able to heal the pineal gland, to decalcify the pineal gland, just what are the things I've done. Please remember, this has worked for me. Doesn't mean it will work for you. It just means that you should try everything and anything that makes sense to your body, to your biological body, your physical body, and see what connects with you. See what connects with your intuition, your gut, your body, your mind, your spirit. So here are 7 methods for maintaining a healthy pineal gland. It has been over 5 years. It has been over 5 years since I've adopted these 7 methods. And it's taken that long, but it's worked. Now, there's been a lot of controversy around some of them. I live by the philosophy of doing what works for your body. Yes, it's important to study science, numbers, analytics, and so on. But don't forget, every year, new things get discovered. Heck, think about the 1950s. Doctors would smoke in their offices, and they'd also be on advertisement billboards recommending you to smoke. That's why it's important to take everything with a grain of salt, because we actually don't know anything. We know 0.1% of what is in front of us, and that's magnificent. We discover new things every year and every day. But that's why it's important to listen to you, your soul, your intuition, your body, your mind, and just do what works for you. Because we are in a world that is driven by ego, and people think that they're right. Like I said, I take everything with a grain of salt. I filter it. I try it for a couple months. If it works, great. If it doesn't make sense, I don't even try it. I've been vegan for 5 years, as I mentioned earlier in the video. Again, I'll make another video separately about why I'm vegan and why it aligns with me. But it's not for everybody, and that's fine. I don't care if somebody's not vegan. That's theirs. That's their body. That's their decisions. Cool, man. Make your own decisions. But for me, I'm not going to get people to tell me what to do because it's been 5 years and I've never been happier. I've never been healthier. I've never had more energy in my day. There's literally zero reason for me not to be vegan. But again, I tested it. It worked for me and my body. Don't take what I'm saying and live by it. And don't take what anybody is telling you to and live by it. Try what works for you. If it makes sense, give it a shot. If it works, keep going. That's where self-awareness comes in handy, to see if it works for you. Have your own thoughts, your own belief, your own theories. That's what makes you you. Okay, let's get to the 7 things. First one, avoid fluoride. And this is where the controversy comes. As mentioned earlier, the pineal has crystals made from calcium, carbon, and oxygen. That is a magnet for fluoride. And this is what leads to calcification. It covers your pineal gland. So your pineal gland can no longer move, can no longer signal, it can no longer do what it's meant to do. This prevents the gland from producing melatonin at a good level, a healthy, balanced level. If the gland is calcified, it'll also remove all spiritual abilities. Now, a lot of dentists will say, hey, you need fluoride for your teeth. And hey, they might not be wrong. But don't forget, they studied dentistry for 8 years. They did not study the brain. They did not study the pineal gland. They have no interest in that. So they'll tell you what they believe in their biases. But what is more important? Healthy teeth to their level of health and a sacrificed pineal gland, which is your spirituality, your happiness, your level, everything? Or is it maybe looking at other teeth alternatives? Like, I think I have good teeth and I've been using fluoride-free toothpaste for over 5 years and I've had zero effect, no cavities, no nothing. So I don't know. Do what works for you. Another one is a healthy diet. Now you'll see with all these 7 that it's just regular things that we should be doing, but a healthy diet is very, very important for the pineal gland. It's important to consume things that are high in antioxidants and low in processed foods. Some sources suggest apple cider vinegar, oregano oil, and raw cacao can help detoxify the pineal gland. Meditation and breath work. So as suggested by Dr. Joe Dispenza, specific meditative practices focusing on the pineal glands can activate and maintain its health. Certain breathing techniques where I've activated my pineal gland is very, very important. I'll do videos about that later. Another one is sunlight. Exposure to sunlight helps activate your pineal gland because it's the circadian rhythm. So by keeping your circadian rhythm in check, you're helping your pineal gland be healthy, right? So just exposure to sunlight is so vital. And then the other one is sleep. Sleep is also just as vital as sunlight, right? You take care of your melatonin in the evening by sleeping. You take care of your serotonin in the day by having sunlight, right? So by having a balance, by going to bed at a very similar time, if it's 10 o'clock, you're going to bed within that, around 10 o'clock every night. You're waking up at 6 every morning, and you're staying within these time slots. So you're becoming more circadian rhythm, is becoming more aligned with Earth, with the sun, and with what you're doing. This will allow you to really align and connect with your pineal gland, limiting exposure to light and EMFs in the evening. So of course we can't control the 5G towers that are going on, but that is not helping us. But what we can control is our exposure to blue light in the evening, so getting blue light blockers, but not being exposed to blue light really helps your circadian rhythm because it helps the melatonin being released. Blue light kills melatonin. The other one is EMFs. So as we said earlier, your pineal gland is known to be an antenna. It releases and it retrieves frequencies. And EMFs from Wi-Fi or even from your phone close to your ear, your phone, it's affecting it. That's why never talk on the phone near your head. But shutting your Wi-Fi off after 10 p.m. or 9 p.m. before you go to bed, shutting it off and having a full 8 hours of no EMFs in the home, that helps a lot. Of course, we're not able to block everything out, but that's a huge help. There are a lot of people that are deep in this theory, and they're deep in this. Some people call it conspiracy. I don't give a shit what you call it. Conspiracy, whatever. But I do believe it's a theory, and I do agree with it to an extent. I don't do it. But they put metal on their windows. It blocks out everything. So their house is completely EMF free to protect their pineal gland. They also, to the extent, believe that the government and the people behind this has a big plan, that they put fluoride in the water, they put crazy EMFs, they do all these things and it affects our pineal gland, and it kills our subconscious, and it kills our spiritual practice in our life. And I do believe that to an extent, because I do believe that they don't have our best interests in mind, and their agenda is money, capitalist access. I just don't think they're even freaking aware of what the pineal gland is, but I do believe that they know that fluoride doesn't help us, and I feel like that's why they're doing it. But anyway, that's another thing. And the last one is regular exercise. So regular exercise helps us regulate our circadian rhythm, right? And which in the end helps us regulate the pineal gland. So I'm sure you already noticed a lot of these habits you're already doing, and there are also a lot of habits that you can be doing. It's standard habits that keeps us in optimal health. So next, let's just talk about the threats. We covered a lot of the threats at the beginning, but I'll go through them very quickly. So one of the biggest threats is EMFs. Not good for the pineal gland. Another one is fluoride. Be careful with this. It's in a lot of water, and it's in a lot of toothpaste. Like I said, filter your water with ROs and Berkeys and all these things. And then the other thing, just get a non-fluoride toothpaste. Like I said, I've been doing it for 5 years. No cavities. Teeth are good. That's just my recommendation. Water is crucial, right? Our bodies are on average 60% water. So be careful with the water you put in, because we are the water. Our brain is whatever, 80% water, right? So water is crucial. Alcohol and tobacco. So I don't know if I need to say much about alcohol and tobacco. I think we all understand by now how bad alcohol is for our bodies and how bad tobacco is. They just have such a negative rap, and there's just nothing positive about them. I've recently dropped alcohol from my lifestyle, and I've noticed a huge shift. I wouldn't drink that much, but I would drink, occasionally a couple times a year, whatever. But now I just completely dropped it because it doesn't bring me any value. But I've noticed a huge shift in my intuition, in my gut, in my vibe, and everything. It's just so great. And tobacco, just never really been a thing of mine. The other one is caffeine. Now, don't hurt me for saying caffeine, but it could have an effect on their circadian rhythm, the melatonin, because it could have an effect on your sleep patterns. If it has an effect on your sleep pattern, and it keeps you up at night, or these things, then it has an effect on your circadian rhythm, which then has an effect on your pineal gland. So if you take caffeine before 10 a.m., let's say, it has no effects on your sleep. If it does for you and your body, then great. For me, it does. That's why I don't touch it. The other one is processed food. This is the crime of the 21st century. I cannot stand processed food. It is the most dangerous thing for us, because we inject it into our body, which we're trying to grow and become. So it's so good to just stay with whole foods, stay with vegetables and fruit as much as you possibly can. But processed food has so many chemicals. There's no love put into it. There's no energy put into it. It is so bad for you. And then the other one is excessive artificial light, like we spoke about. Just be careful of the artificial light in the evening. The other one is calcium supplements. So we have to be careful with the amount of calcium supplements we do take, if we do take any. It's better to take it from food, but if you take calcium, it does, pineal gland, it's like a magnetic to calcium. Another one is stress. You want to just be careful with stress. And that's why meditation practice is very nice, or just other practices that you do to lower your stress levels, because stress does affect the pineal gland. So quick do's and don'ts on food. I just want to talk about the food aspect of things, on what type of food you should eat and what type of food you should not eat to keep a healthy pineal gland. So foods to include: organic fruits and vegetables. These are rich in antioxidants, which can help protect your body, help by extension the pineal gland from damage by harmful molecules called free radicals. Another one is omega-3 rich foods. Foods like flax seeds and chia seeds contain omega-3 fatty acids, which can help support brain health. Turmeric and raw cacao. These are often suggested because they are rich in antioxidants. Turmeric in particular contains curcumin, which some believe may help protect the pineal gland. Garlic and beets. Some believe these foods can help detoxify the pineal gland, although scientific evidence for this claim is limited. Now, foods to avoid. Processed food. These often contain indentative and preservatives, which could potentially harm the pineal gland. Excessive animal protein. Any animal protein can lead to increased production of certain hormones, which could potentially impact the health of the pineal gland. Personally, any animal product produces a negative impact on the body. Again, my personal belief, what I've experienced, what I've been through, but I've noticed a zero impact when I do ingest meat on my energy, on my gut, on my intuition, and my mental health. Take it out of my body, and everything in my life changed. Another one is artificial sweeteners and high fructose corn. Artificial sweeteners and high fructose corn syrup. These have been linked to a host of health problems and are best avoided for overall health. Caffeine and alcohol. These substances can interfere with the natural sleep-wake cycle, potentially disrupting the function of the pineal gland. Foods high in fluoride or other toxins, as we mentioned multiple times. As mentioned previously, fluoride may accumulate in the pineal gland and affect its function. Foods grow with pesticides and other chemicals may also carry toxins that could potentially impact the health of the pineal gland. Wash your veggies with apple cider. I'm actually just watching some now. Apple cider helps with this. Okay, we're just about to finish to wrap it up. I want to finish with activating it. I love doing these type of meditations. I love activating it. It's so fun because even if I don't leave my body, I still feel so energized that day, that morning, whenever I do this. So let me just go over how to activate this baby. So there are a few ways you can do it. I'm going to speak about 5 common ones. I'm also going to attach a video in the description, a link to a Dr. Joe Dispenza opening of the pineal, one of my favorite meditations. Recommend you take a look. So as mentioned before, activate it. Sun. As soon as you wake up, go in the sun for 30 minutes. That will help activate the pineal gland. Reduce screen time. So as soon as you wake up in the morning and as soon as you go to bed, do not touch screens. Do not do any screen for the last 3 hours before bed and the first 3 hours when you wake up. And you'll notice a huge shift in your intuition in activating your pineal gland. Once you have the root, once you do those key things, then dive into a meditation. There's a lot of third eye meditations out there. I'll put a couple links in the bio. Breath work. Breath work exercise is one of the best ones for your for your pineal gland. The reason why is because when you get into a breath work, into a vibration, into a constant thing, your pineal gland starts to vibrate. And when it starts to vibrate, you start to activate it. And everything is in the same frequency, in the same flow. That's where the magic happens. Chanting. This is very popular in the Buddhist world. And another one is darkroom therapy. Now this is crazy, but darkroom therapy is a new thing I discovered a couple months ago. And I'm so excited to do it. I don't know when I'll do it, but I'm going to do it. So darkroom therapy is when you spend up a minimum of 24 hours all the way up to 300 some hours. So it's like from a day to 7 days. And this is 0 light for the entire time. No phone, no TV, no nothing. They bring you food and they put it into like 2 doors. They open the door, they put in food, they close the door, then they knock, and then you can open the door and take the food. Can't talk to anything, can't talk to anybody, and you're just purely there. That is known to activate the freaking pineal gland and to do so many other things. But anyways, that's a really cool one. Now, go activate that freaking cool spirit molecule in your brain. Go have fun. Go do it. Hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk soon.